For this assignment, I chose to focus on confidence in women leaders. I chose to interview Isra Torres for my informational interview. She is a licensed independent clinical social worker who currently works for Boston Public Schools as a transformation social worker. And she has over 10 years of experience working with youth in different levels and forms of social work. The reason why I chose to interview Isra is because she's a Latinx woman in a leadership role in a position of power. As a Latina myself, I felt that it would be really nice to have an opportunity to speak to another Latina who has experience that aligns with my current background and where I'm starting my career journey. And now being able to see the position that she's in right now, where her decisions have direct, tangible impact on the choices and the kind of methods of teaching that need to be used by teachers, that parents need to use, and that ultimately, like the youth will have to adapt for their own well-being. And she has an LICSW, which is the same licensure that I hope to achieve once I have graduated from my bachelor's and a master's program. Um, and she's a Boston native who currently works for Boston Public Schools. I'm also from Boston. I grew up in the city of Boston, and I think being able to see her giving back to the community and working within the community that we grew up in that also motivated me to want to go into social work was really inspiring and something that I really wanted to hear more about. And lastly, because I can see myself in her, like I can see future me making similar choices to the ones that Irsa has made to get to where she is right now. Um, in my informational interview, the part that I want to focus on is the idea of feeling confident as a leader and being confident in your decisions and yourself within your role. And the things that I learned from Irsa is that um, it's important to remember your achievements and it's important to talk yourself up. It's really essential to remind yourself in moments of doubt that you have experience doing the work that you do and that you've made difficult decisions in the past and it succeeded then, so it can succeed again. And with that also goes that you have to trust that the choices that you're making align with your values and that you're making the choices for the right decision with, for our case, the interest of the best child and the best interest of the child in mind. And hence, it will be a good choice because it will be beneficial to the well-being of the child. Another aspect that she really emphasized is knowing your stuff. And that applies both to observing the environment that you're in and seeing the things that have worked for other people or that have not worked for other people and using those to kind of influence the ways that you're going to implement your own style. And then educating yourself about the school that you're going into, the resources that they have or the resources that they need, and the setup of the community, what are the demographics, the populations, what are the current needs that they have, the places where they're struggling, the resources that are available. And by doing so, you'll be more prepared when things come up because you'll be kind of one step ahead of the curve, already knowing this information in your back pocket for those moments. And in addition to educating yourself about the community, she also emphasized educating yourself about the field because social work is always changing and new things are being learned about mental health and emotional wellness, social emotional learning, all of these different topics. It's good to always keep learning and always keep finding new strategies of doing things. One of the main things that I learned from this experience was how important it is for us to believe in ourselves and how important it is for us to be a source of reassurance for our own selves. Being able to have a tangible example of how she would manage a situation where she wasn't fully confident of the decisions she was making, and how she would talk herself through that by reminding herself of similar decisions, similar moments, and her ability to do this work was something really tangible that I'm going to be able to take with me for all of my future roles and moments of leadership that I will be in. And the way that I will apply that is that I'm going to have a new job next week as a school culture coordinator. And I know I'm going to be making a lot of decisions that are a lot more difficult than decisions I have made in the past in kind of lower ranking roles or roles that are not as directly impactful um, to the day to day life of structure and planning that needs to go into a school culture coordinator role. And I now have ways to remind myself of my own confidence and to develop my confidence. And it was also just really incredible to hear from a fellow Latina who's succeeding in this field, who has been where I have been and like literally started within the field in the same role that I did as their care staff. Um, Being able to see how far she's come and all of the things that she has learned around the way was really motivational for me and really inspirational for me to continue on to my journey as well. This experience and this class has helped me have a bigger notice or a bigger knowledge of my strengths and the opportunities that can be presented to me, such as informational interviews and networking. And I think this is going to help me a lot of having a clearer vision of how to complete my goals. I think if I'm able to do another informational interview with somebody who works in private practice instead of education and kind of see what the differences in their life experience has been in their challenges throughout these two different roles, it's going to be really useful for me to know whether or not I would like to go into private practice or if I want to continue within the education field. Um, and I also feel more prepared in the case that there's going to be opportunities coming my ways that I'll know exactly how to take advantage of them by like knowing how to write a cover letter, knowing how to respond to potential people who are within the field and could give me an informational interview or could give me some sort of feedback or insight into the field, and also having my resume up to date and ready to go. Thank you.